Hello and welcome back to the S.H.E Gallery Show. You are live with us today back in Chicago. We were in Colorado, Denver 2 weeks ago. And last week we had to take some precautions, COVID precautions. And we are back this week with our guest, S.H.E and Ella, founders of Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa and members of Renegades of Funk. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you, audience, for being with us as well. And I also want to let you guys know that we are on the air Mondays, every Monday through the end of September. But we have a special segment to make up for last week, this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, join us again. We're going to have Artistic back on the air, and we're going to talk about the Hip Hop Museum here in Chicago, in case you guys didn't know that exists. So let's get started. We want to thank you guys again for being with us. And for those of you who don't know, right now we are celebrating Chicago Hip Hop Month culture, and it is Blue Moon Art Healing Spa, Gallery Spa that is organized this event with a lot of members from Renegades of Funk. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. Yes. So why don't we get started? S.H.E, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your background as an artist and as a collaborator?
Well, as an artist, it just all started in basic Park Forest, where I'm from, my village. We always went into the city, went downtown, so basically Navy Piers, always battle, quail or pugs, and just like really be suburban kids rhyming with the city kids, which just like took us to a whole new level of hip hop. So I just knew it was always embedded in me to just keep full focus and pushing the hip hop, but the real hip hop, not the industry hip hop.
What is the real hip hop, not the industry hip hop?
Real hip hop is it's all about love, respecting our women, respecting our children, respecting our elders, respecting our ancestors, and yet respecting ourselves. So we're able to respect others. So that's like the element of hip hop is really don't talk about it. It's just respect, because we grew up with a respectful way of hip hop. Yeah. We're just bringing it back daily, working on it, and it's a beautiful time to actually do what we're doing because people are listening and paying attention. It seems like some people might have they say, oh, I have a short attention span, but nah, people are really getting it and actually grasping to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So without my partner here next to me, I don't know. I don't know where I'll be with this hip hop. Probably still be flowing on the waters, but probably be a little more choppier. I wouldn't have it any other way with a great partner that I have next to me to do what we're doing. Yeah, of course.
I'm blushing for you. Right? That's so sweet. That is really, really sweet. And you graduated from the School of Hip Hop?
Yeah, it's like I say I graduated from the School of Hip Hop, meaning like I'm always just hip hop, regardless. It never stops for me. A lot of people focus on different religions, different things. I focus on hip hop culture and heritage, because it is a culture and heritage. So I'm just really on that reality of pushing that frequency. So we don't, like I said, we don't fall into the trap of getting our culture and heritage banned, not just here in this country and other countries. So just really out here to save hip hop.
Beautiful. So hip hop is recognized as a movement, as a way of life. And that is, we talked about it. We had a panel discussion as part of this hip hop culture month that S.H.E Gallery was invited to. So we were part of that on Saturday at Hairpin Art Center in Logan Square, and we talked about hip hop. A lot of members did. And it was Breaker Ray who was here last season, who you may remember. And if you visit our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net, you can check out all of the seasons, all of the segments with all of our previous guests. So here at season 11, you can check out the interview that we had with Breaker Ray and Angel Brick from Brickhead's crew and learn a little bit more about Breaker Ray, who really dove in to bring everybody together and talk about what hip hop represents and how we need to communicate as a community to continue to teach the rest of our community that maybe doesn't understand about the movement, and that it's not a clique, it's a way of life. So one of the things that we talked about was, again, representing the elements of hip hop, which a lot of people recognize as graffiti, emceeing, breakdancing, DJing. And the one that I keep on enforcing is the unity and the love, as Seven very nicely talked about, and how it's very important with the respect for the woman and all of that. So a lot of love for Ella. Beautiful. Ella, why don't you talk to us about yourself as an artist and as a healer?
Okay, cool. Well, thank you once again for having us. It's such an honor to be here.
Likewise.
And just talking with you a little bit, and I love hearing what you're saying about hip-hop being a community. Hip-hop is a movement. It's a way of life, and we are hip-hop. You are hip-hop.
You are hip-hop.
You are hip-hop.
If
you
cool.
choose to be, you're
If
sitting
you're
here
not.
watching us, so you probably are hip-hop.
And
you
when
might
I
not
say
know
cool,
it.
I don't mean like cool like you're a cool, like, you're like, oh, that's cool. I mean like love. If you're representing love, then you're cool.
Yeah.
And that is
yeah.
hip-hop.
Yeah. I love that. And before I go into really like my involvement in hip hop, I want to say Seven didn't really tell you all of the elements that he's involved in. And when he was going to Navy Pier, he was beatboxing. He's a sick beatboxer. And that's one of the elements that often gets left off of hip hop too. People don't talk about beatboxing, but without the beatbox, how you gonna drop the beat on the cipher, So
It's like manual DJing.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
manual.
exactly. And he's a producer, an engineer, an MC. Did some breakdancing back in the day, maybe not as much anymore, but So just have to give you that shout out too. So don't forget to talk about how. That's how you graduated from the School of Hip Hop, because you've done so many elements. I really I grew up in a small town in southern Indiana, and grew up on country music, really. And
Storytelling.
yeah. And it was high school really before I got and started listening to hip hop in any type of way. But once I found hip hop, I never let go of it, and it really started to get embedded in me. I remember memorizing Rapper's Delight. That was like the real point for me where I was like, yeah, I know about hip hop. And so in college, I started to develop. I started to just dig into the crates, started to research groups, started to research hip-hop artists, individual hip-hop artists. I wanted to be able to identify who that was when I heard them on a song, And I have always been a poet. And then I started to develop my style into more of a hip-hop style, spoken word. And started to do spoken word in college, and started going to open mics, hip-hop open mics and spoken word open mics, where I was the only one who looked like me representing. It was a little bit scary, but also exhilarating at the same time. And turns out I got really good feedback, and so that was mainly in Florida, where I went to school at Florida State, that I really started feeling like I was a part of the hip-hop community, and feeling like that's my culture and that's where I belong, is in hip-hop. And not feeling like I had to say that I was white or a girl from Indiana or something like that, but that I could say I'm hip hop. That's who I am. That's my culture, and that's where I fit in. And once I found that started to form really who I was and how I went about things. And as we said, hip hop is all about love. And I know a lot of people go for those 5 elements that you mentioned: DJing, breaking, beatboxing, graffiti. What did I miss?
The unity and the
Yeah.
love.
Right.
That knowledge.
MCing. DJing.
And then there's 4 other elements of hip hop that we really like to highlight, which are street knowledge, street fashion, street entrepreneurialism, and street language.
Yes.
And those are important elements as well, that without those elements, hip-hop doesn't get to be the empire that it is. And if we don't take control of those elements, those other 4 elements that are often forgotten as a culture, then our culture is taken over. It's taken for gimmick. And that's happening a lot now. So we have both sides going on with, as Seven mentioned, real hip hop, and then the industry or the gimmicky hip hop. I mean, hip hop is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, "Ooh, I like this," and
Everybody
it's an
wants it, but
easy
not
thing
everybody
to use
understands
as a
it.
gimmick.
Right.
Yeah, but it's dangerous to use as a gimmick because the root of hip hop is unity and love, and if we're using it as a gimmick, that gets lost.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the forming of Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa. I asked them, I said, why is this a spa? Most people recognize the word spa as like where you go get your nails done or your feet done and go make yourself pretty on the outside. But you guys have taken this as a spa to make yourself heal and beautiful in the inside. Can you guys talk to us about Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa, how you guys came together as a couple to form this organization, this nonprofit organization, and what it's all about?
Well, October 31st of 2020.
Rest in peace,
yes,
Doom.
Yes, Doom
MF Doom.
Yes,
Yeah.
he passed away. So I want to say a few weeks prior of his death day, we got together with 2 other people to create basically a festival at our house, and one thing led to another. We actually just took our healing properties too that we work with ourselves, with our healing crystals, from yoga, Reiki, put it all together with hip hop and just evolved into where we're at right now. It's still a lot of work to do, obviously, because healing is a daily flow. It's like a lot of people, oh yeah, I'm healed today. Nah, it's a daily process. It's a process that we must trust too. So we just trust the process and trust what we were set for, and we just did it. But also, we didn't even know Doom died that day either.
Right.
MF Doom.
It's like most of us.
Who's an immigrant?
Yes.
Or actually, he never made it to the United States, just like John Lennon. They
Yes.
made it very difficult for MF Doom.
Well,
But his music definitely.
We might
might
not want to get started on that, but
I had to just say Barack Obama didn't allow him to come back into this.
We're not going to talk politics, like real
Yeah.
politics. We actually can't because we're a
for sure.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
But and the good stuff, on all of the
Yes.
good stuff, how did Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa actually become an organization? You mentioned a festival in your house. That's
Yes.
quite
Yeah.
amazing. A
Yes.
festival in your house.
Yes.
Yeah, how did that become an actual organization, and how did you guys meet to form this as a collaborative couple? I love hearing love stories.
do you?
Yeah.
Well, we met on what's that, Bumble?
Yeah.
Really a
Bumble.
successful story. I love
So, but the reason why we connected, I mean, I was kind of on there for a joke, to be honest, just to look at the funny pictures that people put up there. Like, whoa, was this for real? You thought this was gonna get you a date?
That's
I was on there for a joke either too. So I was on there for a joke too because I actually wasn't even swiping. Somebody was swiping for me. So
I've never been on Bumblebee, but I know that it's a dating online service. In case you guys didn't know.
Right, and literally put me straight to her. And
Well, his name on there was Knowledge, and he was talking about he's all about hip hop and this and that, and I was like, this guy actually looks kind of interesting, but let me see. And KRS had just dropped Streetlights, and I said, I didn't mention KRS, I just said, what do you think about that Streetlights? And he was like, oh, KRS always brings the heat, and I was like, yes. yes, this guy actually knows about hip hop.
So hip hop brought you guys
It
together.
did. It really
wasn't
did.
Bumblebee, it was hip hop.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I wanted to get to.
That's
It's
the
like,
outcome of
we
the
met
story,
on
though.
Bumble,
Right.
but
The important
like
part, yeah.
the important part was that it was actually hip hop, and that's what I was looking for. Someone with more knowledge than me about hip hop, because I have this much and it's like a drop in the bucket, I feel like, with what I know. And so, that brought us together, and as, due to the COVIDs, we were kind of forced to rethink our lives and how we were going to make money and how we were going to just thrive, and he kept talking about, I want to do a graffiti fest, graffiti fest, and I was just like, let's stop talking about it and just do it. Let's set a date. Let's just do it. We set a date, and that's when we had another hip hop couple came in actually and helped us plan the first one and connected us with Brave Monk and
Most Def.
DJ Most Definite and Illinois, and Shadow Master came through and emceed for us. It was just an amazing day, and really set off the whole movement, or our movement, the Blue Moon Art Gallery and Healing Spa movement. And it was on the blue moon, the full blue moon. So hence the name Blue Moon. The art gallery Seven is also a photographer. And so we installed all of his photographs, mostly of graffiti, events, things like that, into our downstairs of our apartment and of our 2-flat, and made that into our art gallery. We also work with tons of, a lot of different massage therapists, Reiki, and energy healers. And that's where the spa came in, because we wanted people to understand hip-hop is from the crown down, and you also have to heal yourself from the crown down. And that's the correlation, with hip-hop and healing, is that hip-hop is a holistic healing community, where it's not just one part of you that needs to get healed. It's the whole, and there's many different ways to do that. So that's where we started developing. And selling the crystals actually kind of came into it a little bit later, having those available as well for people to use, because we are using them ourselves. And as well, essential oils, me doing food for all of our events. I eat vegan. I do a predominantly vegan diet. And that was something that I felt was important also to bring to the people. It's something that groups like Dead Prez have been talking about forever, that we really have to think about everything that we're putting in our bodies, from media to food to drink to smoke. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And what do we expect out of that?
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I know that talking with Jesse De La Peña and talking to a lot of people that really understand the culture, there's other people who may not be very familiar with the culture, and that think that everybody loves to drink. And actually, a lot of people in the hip-hop community don't drink. A lot of people in the hip-hop community don't drink alcohol, I should say. We drink a lot of coffee. Everybody loves coffee. But, or teas or things that we know are good for our bodies. Taking care of our bodies and taking care of our community and healing, like you mentioned. So I really appreciate that you guys are taking care of yourselves, of each other, and of your community. We're not a church, but when you go to church, that's what they preach. They say to take care of your family, of yourself, of your family, and then you go out to your community without even trying to bring God in the mix with sharing his energy gallery. Obviously, the source there is something higher, but it's something that's bringing us together. So community, I believe it comes from the Greeks, not the Greeks, the
Latin? No.
It may be Latin, but maybe it was. I had this long conversation with Trickster, but basically it comes down. The origin of the word community is unity, so that's what we're practicing here. Now we have 10 minutes left. I really want to talk with the audience about what you guys are doing for Chicago Culture Hip Hop Month at Hairpin Art Center and how that came together. You guys can join again. The events kicked off on July 22nd. They had a gala opening at Hairpin Art Center, which is also a nonprofit in Logan Square, with a lot of performances. On the 23rd, we had a panel discussion that She Gallery was a part of. And there's events that continue to go on all the way through the Battle of the Eagle that we've talked about with Breaker Ray and Flash and B-Boy B in the past and in some of our previous segments. And that leads up to that event on August 7th. So make sure that you guys stay in touch with Blue Moon Gallery Healing Spa, Renegades of Funk.shy, and stay in touch with, and come to these events, community, and learn a little bit more about these cultures and how you can be a part of it. Why don't you guys talk to us about these events?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we just finished a long weekend of events, basically, like you said. Yesterday was Sundays on State, the hip hop edition, and painted a tribute to Mike One
and Parker Lee, P. Lee. Both rest in peace. Yeah.
And I had the honor of hosting a Women in Hip Hop panel with Ange 13 and Makiba Mooncycle, Chia, who's a graph artist here from the city.
You guys may remember Ange 13 was on with us last segment also, so you can also visit our website and check out that interview with Ange 13. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And one of our artists who's in town from California, Silva and Gold. Who else was on there? Am I getting it? I think that's it. I mean, well, and Steph.
Steph too.
Steph Skills. She had to leave because of the timing of everything, but she was there to support, and also Peely's mother was there to really support and send her energy, which was beautiful and amazing. So we're kind of floating on a high / extremely exhausted from the beautiful weekend. And as we move into the next events, we've got a paint and sip coming up at Hairpin on Wednesday. There's also an open mic there, and we're going to be vending there as a promotion for then our market, hip hop marketplace, which is going to be on Friday the 29th. So we've still got vendor spots available. So if anyone's trying to do that, contact us at Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa or Renegades of Funk on Instagram, and we'll get you in. But yeah, so just that's the, entrepreneurialism, street entrepreneurialism. We're trying to make sure that that we're supporting that and supporting those who want to make a living doing what they love. That's what we're trying to do with that. Let's see, what else we've got a footworking event coming up.
Footworking event on Saturday at the Hairpin. And then also Flash has a bike tour, graffiti bike tour.
Graffiti, gears and graffiti,
Gears
or
and
graffiti and gears.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Right.
which way it goes, but he's going to have us as a special guest as well, talking about the food and the importance, again, of like what we put into our bodies, and a little bit more about Blue Moon Art Gallery and Healing Spa and what we're all about. And then moving on from there, I'm not 100% sure what we have going on the next week at Hairpin, to be honest. I think we have a few more programming. I think we do have another paint and sip the next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. But the ultimate, the grand finale is going to be that weekend, the August 5th through the 7th. Will be the Writer's Bench and the Battle for the Eagle. So those are the really the main events to keep your eyes on and to look forward to the big party that we're going to have, basically celebrating hip hop on August 7th at the Battle for the Eagle in Logan Square.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who are not familiar with Battle for the Eagle, it is a breakdancing event, and at the end you get a trophy that's like an eagle. So it takes place at the center of Logan Square where you see the eagle, and that's why it's Battle for the Eagle. That's where the writers' bench started here, and we talked a lot more about that with Flash. So again, you can visit our website, go to Can TV, to our Can TV section. And I don't remember exactly what season that was because we've been on here. So you can stroll through these and learn more about, this was all Trickster, but learn more about some of the segments that we've had with Flash. Flash has been with us twice, B-Boy B, Artistic, Breaker Ray, and we've talked a little bit more about the Battle for the Eagle and how you can take part. So those are some upcoming events, and what we're hearing is community coming together. Really coming together, and Project Logan that we talked a lot more with Flash has been servicing kind of the community. And like I know that I was getting grief for being a part of this panel discussion this weekend because they were like, oh well, that's just the north side, and hip hop doesn't just live on the north side. And I think that that's a really big problem with segregation because the city's already very segregated. So yes, it's true that a lot of these events are happening in the north side and in Logan Square, but they don't have to. So you guys can always take participation and do things on your own and help really come together and bring the neighborhoods together in the city, because the Chicago is recognized as a very segregated city throughout the world. And we stand out for being segregated, and that's a really big problem. So if hip-hop is supposed to be bringing us together, then it's important that we do that. So it was an honor for me to be able to come up north and represent the South Side and talk more about those events and really work throughout the neighborhoods. And what you guys are doing is you guys are taking this to other states, right? You guys want to talk to us for the last few minutes about how you what you recommend that other people do and what you guys are doing with taking Blue Moon Art Gallery Healing Spa outside of the States.
Just research. Like, we always researching different places that are thriving with our culture of hip hop and our heritage of hip hop. We just, like Ella said before, we don't go for the gimmicks. We really research what fits us, and not just fit us, fit Chicago, and not just fit Chicago, fit the universe of hip hop. You know, 'cause this is just not just Chicago too. It's a universal frequency. You know, we get, like I said, we got people everywhere that listen to us that's literally in tune. So hip hop really affects the lives of others, and it's us that really could lift the frequency up and keep people really on a path of greatness. It seems like that's where hip hop has led me. You know, look, I'm sitting here with you and Ella. Like I said, had an amazing concert with amazing people that I always listen to through the frequency of music, through speakers, and now to actually sit and hug these people and communicate with these people on a whole nother level. That's just hip hop in the rawest form. It just comes together like that.
Yeah.
Communication, love, like I said, unity. Ella was talking before we came here about being kind, and it's like, that's one thing too. Hip hop, it is kindness. It is helping the old lady walk across the street. Nobody don't have to see that happen.
Yeah.
It's just a kindness in your heart of just doing that, helping somebody else. So
yeah. And one of the ways that we're able to take this kind of on the road or into other states, into other places, is that connection and kind of going out on a limb and inviting artists that we never thought we would be friends with. This is the third time that Skanks the Rap Martyr came to do a show with us, and he's out in New York. He's been doing hip hop since he was like 11 years old. He's been an MC since he was 11 years old. So staying connected with those people and making those connections to where they're all over the U.S. and they want to bring us to New York. They want to bring us to South Carolina or Virginia or
Or LA.
California,
Las Vegas.
LA.
Shout out to Sylvan.
Yeah, shout out to Sylvan Gold.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah.
again, it's bringing that community, right? You guys started at your house, and you said we're calling this a festival.
Yeah.
And you're bringing that love with each other, and then taking it to the community, and outside of the community, and the community responds to that. We talked about Peely Parker, rest in peace. We had a special segment for him in the previous, I forgot who was on the air with us, but we gave him a special shout out. And again, staff has continued to bring Peely Parker's mom around to our events as well. She also attended our panel that you can also watch on our website, and she gave us a speech on that. And she also attended the opening of Family Resemblance, the evolution of Chicago style graffiti. And again, she's communicating, and what she's doing is she's basically taking his essence, rest in peace. But what Peely Parker did, as Orko talked about, was he brought New York to Chicago as an original member of X-Man crew, and really taught Chicago a lot of those elements as far as the hip-hop music industry goes, and we've carried that along. So it's an essence that continues to live throughout death, throughout anything, because hip-hop does that, right? Just like any great book that you read, it continues to live. So we really thank you both for being here, for leaving this mark, for sharing your stories
Gratitude.
that are hopefully inspiring others. You can again connect with them directly, and we'll also have their information up on our website with our archives when we have season 12 up. That is all the time that we have for today.
Oh,
thank you guys. We love you. Stay in touch with us, with She Gallery, with Blue Moon Art Gallery, Healing Spa. Get involved, and don't be afraid to communicate. We love to talk. See you guys on Wednesday. Peace.